Giridvaradhari. Gopijana Vallabha Giridvaradhari. Dasaranandana Braja Janarandana Vana Braja Janaranja Dasaranandana Braja Janaranja Braja Janaranja Jamuna Tira Vanachari Jamuna Tira Vanachari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunjabi Hari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunjabi Hari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Jaya Gopijana Vallabha Giridvaradhari Gopijana Vallabha Giridvaradhari Giridvaradhari Jasodanandana Braja Janarandana Braja Janarandana Jasodanandana Braja Janarandana Sana Braja Janarandana Yamuna Tira Vanachari Banachari. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Hare Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Rama, Rama Rama. Hare Bala, Hare Bala, Hare Bala, Nittai Gaura, Hare Bala, Hare Bala, Hare Bala, Hare Bala, Nittai Gaura, Hare Bala. Jayam Vishnupad Paramahansa, Hare Virajigacharya, Astatara Sarasi Srimad, Sri Bhaktivedanta Goswami Maharaj, Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai. Shri Radha Govardhana Ki Jai. Gaur Premanandi Hari Hari Bo. Guru? And can you bring the stand? Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. This morning we're reading from the Srimad Bhagavatam. 2 or 3 verses, but the one written there is number 16. Purnagaram Svamadaya Brahmayantam Abhikshnasa Abhyadavadari Krudaha Samrambhaddashtadachchadam Purnargadam Svamadaya Brahmayantam Abhiksnasaha Abhyadavadari Krudaha Samrambhaddashtadachchadam Purnagaram Svamadaya Brahmayantam Abhiksnasaha Abhyadavadari Krudaha Samrambhaddashtadachchadam. Purnagaram Svamadaya Ramayantam Abhiksnasaha Abhyadavadari Krudaha Samrambhaddashtadachchadam. Purnagaram Svamadaya Ramayantam Abhiksnasaha Abhyadavadari Krudaha Samrambhaddashtadachchadam. Word for word. Purna, again. Gadam, mace. Svam, his. Adaya, having taken. Ramayantam, brandishing. Abhikshnasa, repeatedly. Abhyadavat, rushed to meet. Hari, the personality of Godhead. Kruda, angry. Samrambat, enraged. Dashta, bitten. Dashchadam, his lip. Translation. The personality of Godhead now exhibited his anger and rushed to meet the demon, who bit his lip in rage, took up his mace again and began to repeatedly brandish it about. What's that we'll read? I think 16 to 19 is mentioned there. Tatas cha gadayaram tim, dakshinasyam bruvi prabhu, ajdagne sa tutam somya, gadaya kovido hanat. Translation. Then with his mace the Lord struck the enemy on the right of his brow, but since the demon was expert in fighting, O gentle Vidura, he protected himself by a maneuver of his own mace. Text 18. Evam garabhyam gurvibhyam hayaksho hari evacha jigishaya susamram tab anyonyam abhijagnatu. Translation. In this way, the demon Ayaksha and the Lord, the personality of Godhead, struck each other with their huge maces, each enraged and seeking his own victory. Ayaksha is another name for Hiranyaksha, the demon. And text 19. Tayo spidos stigma gara hatangayo chatashrava grana vivida manivo vichitramargam charato jigishaya yabat ilayam iva susmino muridaha. Translation. There was keen rivalry between the two combatants. Both had sustained injuries on their bodies from the blows of each other's pointed maces, and each grew more and more enraged at the smell of blood on his person. In their eagerness to win, they performed maneuvers of various kinds, and their contest looked like an encounter between two forceful bulls for the sake of a cow. Purport. Here the earth planet is called Ila. This earth was formerly known as Ilavritavasha, and when Maharaj Pariksit ruled the earth, it was called Bharatavasha. Actually, Bharatavasha is the name for the entire planet, but gradually Bharatavasha has come to mean India, as India has recently been divided into Pakistan and Hindustan. Similarly, the earth was formerly called Ilavritavasha, but gradually as time passed, it was divided by national boundaries. So we're continuing to read here about the battle between Hiranyaksha and Lord Varaha, and we're hearing about how expert both Hiranyaksha and of course the Supreme Personality of God, Lord Varaha. Now, in military art and warfare, there's a lot of training to be done, and one has to be expert in different weaponry and how to use it. Just like today, one goes in the Army or Navy or Air Force or something, one needs a lot of training, a lot of sophisticated weaponry, so one needs many years of training, what the weapons are, and how to use those weapons. So here we're reading about the mace battle between Lord Varaha and Hiranyaksha. Can't see anyone. All I'm seeing is this microphone. Oh, that's all right. I've got it now. Just a little bit down. Yeah. No, that's good. Yeah. So this takes a lot of. It's we read in the Mahabharata, of course, how Bhimsena and Duryodhana had received training from Dronacharya in the art of using the mace, archery, of course, even today. Arjuna was very famous, Karna, very famous. A lot of training is required, and a lot of knowing how to launch an attack, how to defend an attack, all these types of things. So we're reading here a little bit of that, as mentioned in one of the verses. Hiranyaksha protected himself by a maneuver of his own mace. So one learns that doing this type of attack, then you use this type of defense to fend it off and so on and so forth. So this is very interesting, the artistry of fighting with the mace. It was not just wild, someone picking up a club or something like that and swinging it around wildly. There was certain ways to do it, and both Hiranyaksha and Lord Varaha are expert. So first of all, there were exchange of very heavy and vicious, demeaning words. First from Hiranyaksha, the Lord answered him, and now it's escalated. Quite often is the case. It starts off with thoughts, it goes to the words, and quite often goes to the physical. Of course, this is transcendental Leela, Hiranyaksha, Hiranyakashipu, formerly Jai Vijay in the spiritual world, and Lord Varaha, he's descended. So this is transcendental, but it's something that is manifested, very sensational, very extraordinary. Both Lord Varaha and Hiranyaksha were huge in size. This is not ordinary. Just these types of descriptions of the incarnations and the different pastimes is just you couldn't think these things up. You know, I mean, there's many stories around the world, but these stories now. There's so many different types of incarnations. We know there's Leela incarnations. There's Manvantara incarnations, Yuga incarnations, Purusha avatar. So many different types of incarnation. We know the Das avatar, the 10 very famous incarnations, Leela incarnations, and I think in the Bhagavatam, in the second canto is mentioned 25 Leela avatars. Not all of them are Vishnu Tattva. Some of them are Jiva Tattva, but empowered to act. Or some are partial expansions and so on, Prithu Maharaj, and so on and so forth. So these 25 mentioned in the Srimad Bhagavatam, Leela avatars, and Manvantar avatar. There's an avatar that descends in there's a reign of a Manu who oversees the affairs of the universe, the earth, and he lives a long time, 71 cycles of the Yuga. So each time there's a Manu, there's an avatar that assists. So Manvantar avatar, Leela avatar, Purusha avatar, and we have a Guna avatar, and what else do we have? What other types? Did you mention Yuga? Yuga. Did I mention Yuga? No, I don't think. Yeah, a Yuga avatar. Every coming of the different yugas is an avatar, gives the religious principles. So many, like waves coming in the ocean. In one verse in the Bhagavatam, which the avatars keep coming, and they engage in very extraordinary types of activities. Prabhav incarnations, Vaibhav. Some are known by their powers and potency, some are known by their excellences, so on and so forth. This is very much described in Chaitanya Charitamrita and other Shastras. So different types of incarnation, full incarnations, partial, so many. And especially the Leela avatars, they exhibit very extraordinary pastimes and just to attract. The Lord is very intelligent. He knows that the living entities are totally absorbed in themselves, caught up in different various bodies, and even in human life affected by the mode of ignorance and passion, and very self-absorbed in their own activities. As those in the mode of ignorance are very attracted to very violent mode of passion, also very violent, bloody type of activities. And so very attractive. You find today people are very attracted to very violent and very sensational things rather than nice things. They're attracted to these types of things. I mean, all the newspapers and everything just filled up. You read those types of activities, and what do you read? Just disaster, one after the other, more or less. And there's hardly anything nice in there. And so people are attracted, those in the mode of passion and ignorance. So, of course, the Supreme Personality of Godhead knows that, and therefore to pull them out of that type of attraction and get their attraction a little bit to something seemingly similar, but because it's the Supreme Personality of Godhead and fighting with a great demon, it's actually transcendental. So, and these activities are even more extraordinary than the activities that people are attracted to in the material world. So this is very, very interesting. And here it is said that they struck each other with their maces, and blood was drawn. Now the Lord is a transcendental body. It cannot be injured by anything. We know the soul proper cannot be destroyed by fire or water or anything like that. So one could ask the question, how is it that, there's, here it's mentioned that the Lord has blood. For a start, the Lord is allowing Hiranyaksha to actually hit him with the mace, and the Lord is hitting him back, and so on. And there's blood. There's blood. I mean, there's heavy hits. I mean, maces. I don't know if you've ever been in some of these. When you go to India, you can go in some of these museums. There's a really good one in Jaipur, probably. And many of you have been inside the weapons of the past, Maharajas and soldiers. But they're devastating looking things and very heavy. And you wouldn't want... And these are just little things, just a little tap with one of those things would completely annihilate you. But somehow or other, they would fight with them. And here we're having a Lord... Varaha and Hiranyaksha fighting with these huge maces, and they're drawing blood. So the Lord is manifesting some blood, the appearance of some blood. The Lord has a transcendental body. We know, of course, Krishna, when he left the world, he did leave a form behind made of the material elements, so just to bewilder the atheist or the ordinary person. So he did do that. But as far as Lord Varaha, there's no mention that he manifests a material form. But just that the appearance of blood was there. And of course, there was blood on Hiranyaksha. He did have a material body. And they were enraged. Interestingly enough here, the comment is, the actual statement here is that blood enraged them further, or they were more excited, just like hunting animals. Now, and in the lower modes of nature, for those human beings who are in the lower modes of nature, they get excited with these bloody sports and all these types of things. So especially in the lower species of life, especially the animals that are hunters, they hunt and they attack. And when they attack, they could be a lion, a tiger, or any other species. They draw blood, they cut, they shred, and blood comes. And when the blood comes, that actually excites them more, just by smelling the blood, by seeing the blood. And so, interestingly, the Lord accepted the form of a gigantic boar. Those male boars are also hunters, as far as in ordinary terms. And of course, Hiranyaksha had tusks. So they were like, and the Lord said, "You are a hunting dog, and we're hunting after you." So they were like animals of the jungle. And they were searching for prey, and when the prey is shredded or whatever, and blood comes, they are getting more excited. And I've seen that when animals, they get very much excited. Just the smell of it, the sight of it, they get them more fired up. You see that in lions, when you throw in the bloody bone or the bloody piece of meat, they become just another creature altogether. They turn into something else altogether. So we see this reflected here. They actually became more enraged. So this is a pastime. They're acting it out. The Lord is acting it out on all levels. Normally people in the mode of goodness, they're not very attracted to blood. And actually, there's a Vedic injunction that blood is an impure, and if one has got blood, then they should clean themselves of the blood, especially if they want to do some worship, or just one should not be covered in blood. It's considered very inauspicious, considered mooching. I remember when I was playing the drum at Rath Yatra when Prabhupada came. I was playing this big bass drum, and my finger here was rubbing up against the skin of the drum, and actually a bit of blood. And Prabhupada looked at it and he just went, so I had to clean up the blood, get myself right again. So generally those in the mode of goodness, they don't like to see blood. That's very abhorrent to them. They like things, sometimes I remember one time in Melbourne we were chanting at a suburb somewhere. We went through a market, and in that market was all these butcheries that had all these salamis hanging up and all these dead animals hanging down there. We had to chant past it all. So we were horrible. But other people were all lined up, very enthusiastic, looking at it, smelling it. I'll have a few of those, So different modes under the different modes. So people in the mode of passion, ignorance, they like that smell. They like, people, the meat eaters like the taste of blood. They like the smell of it, and they can't give it up. They're very attached to blood. They're very attached to meat. They're very attached to blood. Some people order it like that, bloody rare. I remember that. I want it covered with more blood. Now to a devotee, horrible thing, but they like it. So those types of people, of course, if they're not doing anything spiritual at all, in the next life they're going to descend into those species of life that like that type of thing. And go to a tiger, go to a dog, go to anything that likes to kill and eat flesh and bloody flesh. And so God will give those people a more appropriate body for that type of desire. So interestingly here, we're reading about how blood was there on the body of the Lord. He was manifesting it. His body is manifesting blood, and he was manifesting pain, as if the Lord, he doesn't have to come to kill any asuras. He can just look at them and they're dead, or he can, the material energy can take care of them. They're taking care of so many asuras every day. So here, this is a special occurrence, and there was a battle going on, and it seemed kind of even Steven there for a while, even exchanging blows. The Lord would do a blow, and Hiranyaksha would very expertly avoid it. So it was kind of even Steven. So, as I said, the Lord with just one blink could just finish everything, but he kept it going, and it went for some time. He kept it going, a very amazing thing. The Devas were watching on, and anyone else who was fortunate enough, the Devas were watching on, so they were very enthralled. At one stage, there's a description, they were very worried that, and then I think it wasn't that Lord Brahma said, the night's approaching, Hiranyaksha is a Rakshasa, they become more powerful, please dispatch him immediately. I think he said something like that. So they were very worried also that it appeared that Hiranyaksha might get the upper hand, as if he could get the upper hand. But anyway, the Lord was manifesting this Leela, very amazing thing. We're very fortunate to be able to read all these things. I remember that there was a complaint in Auckland Temple that in the temple we had a picture of a painting of Lord Nrsingadev, tearing apart Hiranyakashipu and the intestines was around, and someone complained that this is too heavy a painting to have up in the temple room, with all the blood and guts and everything like that. And we said, well, yes, we can understand that, but at the same time, this is the Lord, the form of the Lord, and killing a great asura, and he's there giving protection to all his devotees, and if you're not careful, this is what's going to happen to you. Sometimes you have to instill fear into people to get them to do the right thing. It's not the first choice of dealing with someone, but sometimes it has to be. So anyway, that picture stayed up, no matter the objection. Form of the Lord. So those who are actually serious devotees, they understand all forms of the Lord, no matter what type of pastime. That form of the Lord is worshipable, and that pastime is also worshipable. And so we have here this pastime. Now, Prabhupada does make a comment here about the earth previously was called Bharatvash, And rather now it is called Bharat Vasha, and previously it was called Ila Vrita Vasha. Now Ila Vrita Vasha, the word Ila actually means earth. Ila, but I've read other places. Ila means earth. The Vrita means the chosen one, or the chosen earth. So now there is a description of Ila Vrita Vasha in the 5th canto of the Srimad Bhagavatam that I was rereading just to freshen up on that, and that Ila Vrita Vasha. Now, just to go quickly, the Bhumandala is made of 7 dweepas and islands and oceans separating them, and in the middle is Jambudweep, and in the middle of Jambudweep is called Mount Meru, Semeru mountain, very high. But immediately surrounding Mount Meru is Ila Vrita Vasha, and then going out from Ila Vrita Vasha, there's all these other Vashas, eventually coming to Bharat Vasha. So whether now this Ila Vrita, all these Vashas are named after King Agnidra, the sons of King Agnidra. There are 9 Vashas, and they're named after 9 sons of King Agnidra, who was a son of Maharaj Priyavrata, who was the son of Swami Bhumana. So Maharaj Priyavrata, he himself made those dweepas, those islands, and then the sons of Agnidra. And each Vasha, when the king retired, when King Agnidra retired, he gave each Vasha to one of his sons. And each Vasha is actually named after one of his sons. So it's interesting. So you can read this. And I was just, there's a nice description. I don't know if you can see that, but I've had this for a while. All the different Vashas and who's there. I don't know if you can see from where you are, but all the different Vashas. They're just a very simple diagram, but all these Vashas were named after, as I said, the sons of King Agnidra, who was the son of Maharaj Priyavrata. So we have the Hiranya Vasha. They worship Kurma, Uttakuru, and Uttakuru is in the north, and they worship Lord Varaha in that particular Vasha. Now these other Vashas, we live in Bharat Vasha, there's huge mountain ranges, and these Vashas, other Vashas on the Jambudweep, they're inaccessible to human beings of the Bharat Vasha. You can't go there, you can't even see them. But very exalted personalities live on these other Vashas, and they worship different forms of the Lord. They live long time. Bharat Vasha is different, but they live long time. And then the Ramyaka Vasha, Matsya is worshipped in that Vasha, and Hayagriva is worshipped in Bhadrashva Vasha. Hari Vasha, Lord Nrsingadev, Prahlad Maharaj is there, Kimpurusha, they worship Lord Rama, and of course in Bharat Vasha, Lord Narayan is worshipped in Bharat Vasha in the different forms of the Lord. So we're living in Bharat Vasha. Now, Prabhupada has said here that formerly the world was called Ila Vrita Vasha. Now, I don't know if it's after Ila Vrita, the son of Maharaj Agni, or just that Ila Vrita Vasha, the name Ila means earth. And so I think it's more likely that, but I can't be 100% sure, that Ila means earth. And so it was formerly called Ila Vrita Vasha, and now it's known as Bharata Vasha. And in India there is a move to rename India Bharata, the original name. Some say that it's called Bharat after Bharat, the son of Lord Rishabh. Lord Prabhupada actually says this. And although Prabhupada does mention some others consider that it's named Bharat after Bharat, the son of Maharaj Dushyanta, and others say that it's named Bharat after Bharat, Lord Ramchandra's brother. So there's difference of opinion, but Prabhupada weighs in on that it's named Bharat after Bharat from the son of Lord Rishabh. So he says he goes that way, although others say other things. So there can be some truth to all those positions. But now it's called Bharat Vasha, and formerly it was the whole world, all the different in countries of the world. Well, it was just one country, it was just Bharatvarsha. Now it's been divided up. Now it's Bharatvarsha is just India. So there's just a kind of a side point that is mentioned by Prabhupada, that it's, everything keeps getting divided up in Kali Yuga. It's a symptom of Kali Yuga. There will always want to be people breaking away from the other group and making their own country, and then even they make their own country, and people get disgruntled in that one. They might want to make another country out of that particular country that also broke away. And so it becomes more and more and more. It's a symptom of Kali Yuga that people fight over just establishing their own country, even no matter how many times they've done it before. So this is quite, the fighting tendency is quite strong in Kali Yuga, and it just goes on everywhere. So here we have this wonderful pastime. Now, just before we finish, today is also, I'll just go briefly over some, there's some disappearance anniversaries today of some of our great acharyas, and they've been spoken about quite a few times here at the temple. Raghunath Das Goswami, Raghunath Bhatta Goswami, the two Raghunaths, Raghunath Bhatta, Raghunath Das Goswami, and Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami, who is very famous, of course, for writing Sri Chaitanya Charitamrita. And there's one statement from Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur, where he states that if it wasn't for Krishnadas Kaviraj writing Sri Chaitanya Charitamrita, hardly the world would know who is Lord Chaitanya and what is the philosophy of Lord Chaitanya. So Bhaktivinoda Thakur is very, very thankful, and he searched long and hard to find a copy of Sri Chaitanya Charitamrita. So he's very thankful to Krishnadas Kaviraj. Now, Krishnadas Goswami, formerly, I'll just say a little bit about each one, just a few minutes each, was born in 1496, and his family was physicians, the doctors, and so that means he was born like 10 years after Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. And in Nadia district, his younger brother was named Shamananda, and he used to worship Gaur-Nitai. His worshipful deities were Gaur-Nitai. And apparently in his village, the worship still goes on to this day. So now, when he was in the younger life, of course, he was married, and he was Vaishnava right from the beginning, and they would have a lot of kirtan in his house, a lot of kirtan, and many great devotees used to visit him. And there's one reference here to Minikatam Ram, who was a very elevated devotee of Lord Chaitanya. He would come and have a kirtan, and he would have a flute and all different things. There's a different story about Minikatam Ram. And so one time, Minikatam Ram was a bit upset with Krishnadas's younger brother Shamananda, because Shamananda didn't so much accept Lord Nityananda, and he accepted Lord Chaitanya, but he wasn't so much in reverence of Lord Nityananda, being another dude, acting a little bit unconventionally, especially in the beginning. So he wasn't so respectful. And so Minikatam Ram heard this, and he was very, very upset that Shamananda was feeling that way towards Nityananda, and he left in disgust. So Krishnadas was very upset with his brother, and he chastised him very severely, and for thinking that he said that Lord Chaitanya and Nityananda, they more or less, their body is one. They cannot be distinguished. You cannot have less respect, more respect for one and not enough respect for the other. So he chastised, and later apparently that night he had a dream where Lord Nityananda came to him and was very pleased and said that now you shall go to Vrindavan, where I just try to get here it is here. Hare Krishnadas na karahabaya. Oh my dear Krishnadas, do not be afraid. Go to Vrindavan, for there you will attain all things. It's from Chaitanya Charitamrita Adi Leela. So after receiving the mercy of Lord Nityananda, he started for Vrindavan, and he was very devoted to Lord Nityananda, of course, and but he had surrendered himself under the association of Rupa, Sanatan, Jiva, all the Goswamis were there, and he accepted them as his instructing spiritual masters. And he got permission from Lokanath Goswami and from Raghunath Bhatta Goswami to write Sri Chaitanya Charitamrita. So now he was very erudite in so many shastras, very, very erudite, and so much so that Jiva Goswami, he was the one that gave him the title Kaviraj. So from that time, Krishnadas was known as Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami because he became very renounced. Of course, he had disciples, Narottam Das Thakur and so on. And so, just reading. Now, he lived for a long time, and he's got one samadhi at Radhakund, and another samadhi is there at Radha Damodar Temple. So this is Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami, and we're always reading from Sri Chaitanya Charitamrita about the pastimes of Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. So, this is one of the disappearance anniversaries today is Krishnadas Kaviraj. So another one, of course, Raghunath Bhatta Goswami. Raghunath Bhatta Goswami was born a little later. Some say 1503, some say 1505. He lived for about 74, 75 years. And he was the son of Tapan Mishra. Now, you probably remember when Lord Chaitanya was Nimai, he was teaching Sanskrit, and he went to, at that time, East Bengal, now it's known as Bangladesh, but he went there, and Tapan Mishra was living there by the Padma River, and to teach Sanskrit and make money for he was married at that time, and get students and make some money for his household. So there he met Tapan Mishra, who became very, very devoted to him. And then Lord Chaitanya actually instructed Tapan Mishra to... Tapan Mishra wanted to go and be with Lord Chaitanya, but he said, no, you stay there and you go to Varanasi and we will meet later on at Varanasi. So Raghunath Bhatta was the son of Tapan Mishra. So when Tapan Mishra lived in Varanasi, Lord Chaitanya went there. Now I seem to remember that he stayed at the house of Chandrasekhar, but he used to have his meals at the home of Tapan Mishra. And at that time, Raghunath Bhatta was just a young boy, used to serve him his meals and massage his feet, do different menial services for Lord Chaitanya. And Lord Chaitanya was very happy with him. Later on, after that time, actually his parents, being great devotees, sent him to be with Lord Chaitanya in Jagannath Puri. So when he grew up a little bit more, he went to Jagannath Puri and he stayed in Jagannath Puri for 8 months with Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. And he spent, he was a very good cook, and he would cook for Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, that Lord Chaitanya used to relish his cooking. He was very skilled, he was very knowledgeable also in the Shastra, especially in the Bhagavatam. And then he wanted to stay with Lord Chaitanya, but Lord Chaitanya said, no, you go back with your parents, they're great devotees and they're getting old now and they need your help. So you go back there, but in the future, come back again when they're no longer present. You can come back. So he again went back. After the parents passed away, he again came back and spent another 8 months at Jagannath Puri. After some time, Lord Chaitanya, he sent him to Vrindavan. And he said, you study Srimad Bhagavatam and other Shastras under the guidance of Sanatana and Rupa Goswami. And so now Raghunath Bhatta is very famous for being able to recite Srimad Bhagavatam. Especially he would recite it very beautifully in a singing way. He could recite it with 3 or 4 different melodies, and quite often the Goswamis would go to be with Raghunath Bhatta Goswami to listen to the Bhagavatam. There's stories of the Seva Kunj in different places, and Radhakund in different places. They would all come to hear and relish Bhagavatam being spoken by Raghunath Bhatta Goswami. Lord Chaitanya told him to remain a brahmachari and don't marry. Read Bhagavatam constantly. And Lord Chaitanya offered him a big garland from Lord Jagannath, big, huge 3-meter garland of tulsi, and gave him I think I remember reading he gave him his neck beads also, and some other things as well. Betel nuts offered to him from the Jagannath deity. So under the instruction of Raghunath Pada Goswami, one of his disciples constructed the Govinda temple, and he supplied all the ornaments for the Govinda deity. He never talked nonsense or worldly matters. He always was hearing Krishna Katha. He didn't like to hear any blasphemy of a Vaishnava. He didn't like to hear criticism. Later in his life, he lived at Radhakund, and there's many different leelas there. Some say he was the gopi, formerly the gopi Ragamanjari. So, as I said, that he lived for 75, 76 years and passed away from this world. So that's Raghunath Bhatta Goswami. Sometimes devotees get confused between Raghunath Bhatta Goswami and Raghunath Das Goswami. Raghunath Das Goswami was being spoken about. Raghunath Das, one of the more famous Goswamis, Raghunath Das Goswami. He was born in 1495, lived at an old age, over 90 years old. And he was 9 years younger than Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Of course, his father, he lived in Krishnapur in West Bengal also, and his father was named Govardhana. Hiranya was his uncle, and they were very rich. They used to collect taxes for the Shah, and they would give the Shah taxes. They would take a commission. So they were actually a very, very wealthy family. And Balamacharya, great scholar, advanced devotee, used to live in that village, was under the patronage of Raghunath Das's father and uncle. But Balamacharya was a great devotee. He encouraged Haridas Thakur to come to that village. So, and he built him a nice hut. So Haridas Thakur lived there, and Raghunath Das Goswami, that time when he was still young, used to go and take darshan of Haridas Thakur. Many acharyas comment that due to the mercy of Haridas Thakur, later he matured his love for Lord Chaitanya and Lord Nityananda. So Haridas Thakur, and of course he was so attracted to Lord Chaitanya. When Lord Chaitanya visited Chantipur, he went there to see Lord Chaitanya. He kind of ran off, and the parents weren't. They were kind of devotees also. They were devotees, but they wanted to see him get married and live family life and everything like that. So he went to see Lord Chaitanya. He wanted to stay with Lord Chaitanya, but Lord Chaitanya himself said that he said, "No, better you go home and just keep everything within yourself for now. In the future, Lord Krishna will arrange everything for you." And so he later on he got married and stayed at home, but he was always pining to be with Lord Chaitanya, and later went, of course, very what's the word? In a very sneaky way, he went off. Intrigue, but he went in a kind of very sneaking way. He snuck off because the parents were afraid he was just going to go off and leave his wife and just and just be with Lord Chaitanya in Puri. So he snuck off. He used a particular opportunity to sneak off, and even the parents sent some men to find him and bring him back, but he went in another direction. Eventually arrived in Jagannath Puri, and so the men came back. They couldn't find him, and finally Raghunath Das he went to see Lord Chaitanya, who was staying at Kashi Mishra's house there in the Gambhira there, and Lord Chaitanya put him under the care of Swarup Damodar. Swarup Damodar, he said that you take shelter of Swarup Damodar, he will instruct you. So there's many stories of Raghunath Das Goswami. The parents, realizing that he just wasn't going to come back, made arrangement that he had a nice house. So he lived at the house for a few years, and he used to cook for Lord Chaitanya and give it to Swarup Damodar to give to Lord Chaitanya. But then he decided not to even do that. He would just beg for food and so on and so forth. Later on, he did eventually go to Vrindavan, and engage in. He was very instrumental in excavating Sham Kund, Radha Kund, and there was a Bhajan Kund. Many stories of Raghunath Das Goswami, so today also is his disappearance day. So Hare Krishna, we've almost come to the end of our time. So if anyone would like to ask perhaps one question, or we can go straight to breakfast prasad. Jai. All glories to Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Go Premanandi Hari Hari Bo.